Hi, it's Laura. Well, everybody, how are you? It is 1:30 in the morning on, is it Thursday morning? I don't know. I can't keep track of the days. This whole world is so crazy and everything that's going on in it. I don't know if you're better than I am about keeping track of everything, because sometimes I frankly just don't want to anymore. I just want to stop this world and go somewhere else for a while and maybe have a good time. And then I'll come back later and deal with all this stuff, right? Anyway, welcome to the class of 74. This is Laura, and our friend Cynthia was at the drive-in and she saw something happening, she thought, between a student she knows and a teacher she knows. Well, that's where we left her. So why don't we go back and find out what happened? So we're going back to the drive-in. Have fun. I'll talk to you at the end of the show. Episode 13, What the Puppy Saw, The Drive-In, Part 2. When Cynthia arrived back at the station wagon, she peeked through the back window. Clay wasn't there. Mimi and Katie were glued to the screen, and Patrick and Cheryl were slumped down somewhere below the front seat. Cynthia knocked twice on the rear window as a warning inside, particularly to the occupants of the front seat, and then she slowly made her way around to Patrick's window. The window was down. Cynthia held up the 2 plastic bags. "Beer's here," Cheryl cheerfully announced. "Where's Clay?" Patrick asked as he took one of the bags in. "We nearly ran into Teddy Hamilton," Cynthia explained. "So I took the beer and Clay took off. Teddy didn't see him." Teddy had more important things going on, she thought to herself. She imagined Senora Cordova was a very sexy lady. "I think he may have gone to the snack bar. He had that huge list of what everybody wanted." "Pony boys are still cold," Patrick announced, prompting the girls to cheer. He reached into his back pocket and pulled out a Swiss Army knife. "What's a pony boy?" Mimi asked. "A 7-ounce Miller." He popped the cap on one and handed it to Cheryl. "Oh, it's so cute," Cheryl cried. She held it up so the back seat could see it. "Looks more like a pony girl to me," Katie said. "Technically, it's just called a pony," Patrick explained, popping the cap off another, "so you can call it whatever you want. Do you want one?" "Yes," Katie and Mimi said simultaneously, laughing. Cynthia smiled. Everyone was excited. Patrick turned around to hand it to Katie. "Remember, we need to keep them out of the line of sight." "If Clay gets caught with beer," Cynthia said, "he's off the team, right?" Patrick nodded. "So where's he supposed to go while everybody's sitting around drinking beer in the car?" "He just can't drink one or be seen with one in his hand," Patrick said. "Mimi," he called, holding a beer behind him next to his headrest. "Hello, pony boy," Mimi said. "And it is cold." "Come on, get in," Patrick said to Cynthia. "You can have this one. I've got 4 more right here," she said, lifting the other bag. Everybody cheered. "And Clay bought these?" Cheryl asked. "He bought 1 8-pack, Patrick said, popping the cap off his beer and taking a big swallow. "Oh, that's good. And I bought 2 8-packs. "He's never bought any before," Cheryl said. "He never wanted to impress a girl who likes beer before," Patrick said, looking up at Cynthia. "He bought her cigarettes, too." "Oh, right," Cynthia said, remembering. She reached in and felt around in the bag for them. "Can I have one of those, please?" Patrick asked. Sure, Cynthia said, giving him one. And for me too, please, Cheryl called. Quiet, everybody, quiet, Mimi cried. They're going to kiss now. They all stopped to look up at the screen. Streisand was back in time again. In merry old England, it looked like. She was magnificent in a long, white silken chiffon Regency gown. And with that white silk turban headdress thing, she was a goddess of the ages. Her face chiseled perfection, her smoldering sexuality pulling the object of her desire toward her, a young aristocratic blonde guy. And they slid into a breathtaking kiss. It was some scene. Cynthia let out a slow breath. If they were still going out at Halloween, she thought maybe they should dress up like those two on the screen. Now I really want a cigarette, Katie announced when the kiss was over. Patrick got one of the matches lit and held it out for Cheryl, and then he lit his own cigarette. Another experienced smoker. Cheryl leaned over his lap to look up at Cynthia. I wish you had been around last year. Until tonight, Mr. Clean's done nothing but harangue us about drinking and smoking. Clay doesn't harangue, Patrick said, raising his chin to exhale smoke. In fact, he never says anything. Well, that's true, Cheryl acknowledged, but I always feel so guilty when I look at him. I can feel him haranguing me in my mind. Cynthia laughed. Cynthia handed Patrick the second bag, and then opened Mimi's door and climbed over her to sit in the middle of the back seat. She offered Katie a cigarette. Mimi didn't want one, and Katie half stood to light it off a match Patrick offered. Did you say Teddy's here? She asked Cynthia, sitting back in her seat. Ashtray's there, Cynthia said, pointing to the armrest next to her. She needed to remember to empty these ashtrays tonight. Teddy's way down there by the exit somewhere, she said. Katie covered her mouth as she suppressed a burp. Excuse me, who's he with? Not sure, Cynthia mumbled, drinking her beer. She would tell Clay about Senora Cordova. Or maybe not. Clay was going to have a tough enough time in Spanish. Well, she'd have to see. She felt squeamish about the whole thing. Sick, thrilled, and scared all at the same time. She liked Senora Cordova, but no, Cynthia didn't want her to lose her job. She wished she didn't know. But that wasn't really true, was it? She was exhilarated to know this secret, in fact. It certainly would help pass the time in Spanish class to think about it. I have no idea what's going on in this movie, she whispered to Katie. Daisy, that's Streisand, Katie whispered, went to get hypnotized so she could stop smoking. But this professor guy discovered she is the reincarnation of some rich English lady from 150 years ago. Shh, Mimi said. No more talking. Barbara's on trial. Cynthia glanced up at the screen. Indeed, she was. Streisand was standing in the witness box of an old English courtroom, wearing a black velvet riding jacket, a white lacy blouse, a huge wide-brimmed black hat, and was holding what looked like a muff of white feathers. This was in contrast to the modern-day Daisy, who wore pop fashion outfits. Cutting back and forth between the two times was pretty funny, since the present-day Daisy talked like she was a broad from Brooklyn, and her old self was a very well-spoken, hoity-toity sort of grand lady of the world. It was as if they had combined two of her favorite movies, Streisand in Funny Girl and Vanessa Redgrave in Mary, Queen of Scots. Mrs. Whittaker did not look like Barbara Streisand. What did it mean to look Jewish? She wondered what would happen this week with the Whittakers, with their secret. She wondered if Evan was going to be okay. Wonder if he had another seizure. Don't think about it, she told herself. She was going to need to visit the ladies' room soon. "This guy's too old for Barbara," Mimi cried, pointing to the screen. "She's like 30, and he's like 100. "He's a huge French star," Cheryl said. "Barbara Streisand's the brightest star in the universe," Mimi announced. "She should be able to pick her co-stars. She did not pick this old guy." Katie took a swig of beer. "I read she wants to direct a movie." "I'll never let her," Cynthia sighed. "Why not?" Cheryl asked from the front seat. "'Cause she's a woman. Why else?" "Yeah," Cheryl said, "but she's got a lot of money." "She's too ethnic," Patrick said. "That sounds a little anti-Semitic to me," Katie said. "It's not," he said, shrugging. "Listen, Buster," Mimi said with sudden vehemence. "She's an actress, played a role. She is so talented we should let her do whatever she wants." Cynthia heard the clink of empty bottles in the front seat, then the sound of 2 more being opened. "We need to get the key from Clay to get more beer," Patrick said. "All right," Cynthia said. "Let me just finish this and I'll go look for him." She chugged the rest of her beer. "Did you just drink that whole thing?" Katie asked her. "Yes. Patrick, do we have a garbage bag?" He handed her one of the beer bags back. Katie chugged the rest of hers and put the empty in the bag. "Okay, I'll go with you." "Mimi, are you okay over there?" She herself was feeling fine and dandy. "I hope you're getting our food." "But get the key first," Patrick said. "Patrick, you go get the key," Cheryl said. "They'll help carry the food back." Patrick sighed. "Yeah, okay, I'll go. I'm jogging to the snack bar and then going straight to the beer, okay, guys? And then I'll bring it here." His door opened. Cynthia lit a cigarette for herself and opened the door, and after Katie climbed out, she left the pack and matches on the seat. They strolled toward the snack bar, watching Patrick's jogging figure growing smaller. She noticed the hitch in his gait. What was a birth accident anyway? "Patrick says Clay doesn't smoke or drink," Katie said. "No, he doesn't." "How is that going to work between you?" she asked. "Or was he looking for a girl who drinks so he can take advantage of her?" Cynthia was so horrified by this remark, she stopped dead in her tracks. "How dare you?" she said, thinking how much she sounded like her mother. "He's not like that, Katie." "He's a guy," Katie said. "Of course he's like that." Cynthia shook her head and walked away, not pleased with Katie at all. She could be right, of course. What boy who didn't drink or smoke bought a girl beer and cigarettes for a date? "Cynthia," Katie said, running to catch up, "I didn't mean to hurt your feelings." "You think I haven't wondered the same thing?" Cynthia asked, whirling around. "I have, Katie, because you know what? I never understand why any guy asks me out when there are so many other girls who are so much better looking than I am. Girls that don't get into arguments, girls that don't get mad, girls that just go along and don't cause any problems." "You have self-esteem issues," Katie told her. "I don't even know what that is." "It's having confidence in yourself without being conceited," Katie said. "In California, a lot of people make a lot of money talking about it. Self-esteem, self-improvement, peace, love, Woodstock kind of thing. Sometimes Buddha's in the middle of it, sometimes tarot cards. I don't know, Cynthia, maybe you should try TM or crystals or something. Astrology, maybe." "What are you talking about?" Cynthia demanded. "Cynthia," a girl's voice called from the row of cars below them. A figure was waving. It swerved around a car, weaved under a car's speaker wire, and arrived in front of them. It was Dee Dee, the girl who had given Cynthia a ride yesterday in the station wagon. She was holding a large drive-in soda cup. Her face was flushed and she was laughing. She was shorter than Cynthia remembered, and then Cynthia remembered she had never seen Dee Dee standing before. "Dee Dee, hi," Cynthia said. Are you a Streisand fan? I'm a fan of anywhere I can eat, drink, and smoke in peace, Dee Dee laughed. I do like Streisand, though. I saw this movie last year in New York. Her eyes moved to Katie. Oh, Dee Dee, this is Katie, Cynthia said. She just moved here. I know, Dee Dee said, because I live on Farwater Lane, too. Which way? Katie asked. Closer or farther from the water? Oh, farther, Dee Dee said. My dad's in book publishing. Oh, that's cool, Cynthia said. Not unless you love science textbooks, Dee Dee said, laughing. This girl was always laughing. Cynthia liked that. Dee Dee held out the soda cup to Cynthia. Try Henry's Magic Pisser Elixir. Cynthia took the cup and sipped. Not bad. What is it? Peach brandy and 7-Up and something else, I don't know. Dee Dee took the cup from Cynthia and gave it to Katie. She took a sip and smiled. Yum, that's great. May I? There's plenty more where that came from, Dee Dee said. When Katie started guzzling it, Dee Dee raised a cautionary hand. Easy there, whoa. It's got a very high alcohol content. Good, Katie said. Gets the job done faster. Then she got a surprised look on her face and touched her chest. Ooh, it's an afterkick. Still, she took another big swallow before surrendering the cup. I had to tell you, Cynthia, Dee Dee said, eyes sparkling. You know that kid we were talking about yesterday? The blonde guy you said looks like an angel? Yeah, you said his name was Peter. It's not, Dee Dee cried, laughing. She turned to Katie. We're like on the 7th name with this kid who's been riding around in my car. She shrieked with laughter, making Cynthia and Katie start to laugh too. Peter, Paul, Matthew, Luke, John, we're going through all the disciples. He told me his name was Fred when I met him, Cynthia told Katie. Oh, I'd call him Fred and be done with it, Katie said, reaching for the cup. Can I have some more of that? And he didn't get thrown out of Deerfield Academy, Dee Dee managed to get out. My friend Henry says reform school. She doubled over, laughing. I thought Brighton was supposed to be upper class, Katie said, taking another swallow. I don't know, Dee Dee, Cynthia said, judging from his clothes. I'm pretty sure it was prep school. Oh, gosh, Dee Dee said, trying to catch her breath. She straightened up. I knew I shouldn't have smoked that pot. Cynthia and Katie looked at each other. Do you think you'll be okay to drive later? Cynthia asked. Maybe you should take a nap or something. No, Henry's driving, so I can relax. I was just on my way to the ladies' room when I saw you. I had to tell you about Angel Boy and all the disciples. She started laughing all over again. I could use a stop in the ladies' room myself, Cynthia said, starting them in that direction. Me too, Katie said. She tried to hand the cup back to Dee Dee. No, you keep it, Dee Dee said. I have had enough. Here, Katie said, turning to Cynthia. You drink it. It's easier than Buddha and astrology. There wasn't much left in the cup, so Cynthia drank it. I got the key, Patrick called as he jogged past them in the other direction. Clay's at the grill. He could use some help carrying stuff. Okay, Cynthia acknowledged. I know that guy, Dee Dee said. He goes to private school now. Patrick Seaton, Cynthia said. That's it. She turned to Katie. He lives near us, too. The line to the ladies' room was out the door. Your family must sail if you live this close to the water, Dee Dee said. My dad and brother do, Katie said. I know how, but I don't race or anything. They do. We're supposed to be joining some club. Sachem Yacht. Dee Dee laughed again. It's like 2 feet from your house. My house is one big moving box, Katie said. I haven't seen anything but packing paper since I got here. Cynthia had not brought her purse along, so she said she would be right back, ran into the snack bar, grabbed a couple paper napkins, and came back out. 10 to 1 they'll be out of toilet paper, she said, handing the napkins out. If there is some, then just save this for later. Save it how? Katie asked. Watch and learn, Cynthia said, plucking at her own shirt and tucking the napkin down into her bra. Works for cigarettes, too, if you put it in the middle. Oh, I bet Clay wishes he was that cigarette, Katie said. Cynthia looked at her. Who's Clay? Dee Dee asked. Cynthia said Patrick's brother, and Katie said Cynthia's boyfriend at the same time. Oh, right, Dee Dee said. He's the guy who blew the game this summer. Blew what game? Katie asked. Oh, please don't. Oh, I won't, Dee Dee quickly assured her. It was nothing. She looked at Cynthia. I don't think he sails. I don't know. I haven't known him long. But Clay's going to get to know her a whole lot better, Katie said, because he bought her a bunch of beer and he doesn't even drink. How is it that Katie was even here? Not bad for someone who had stopped in, uninvited, at 8:30 on a Saturday morning. The line moved quickly, and soon they were in. Cynthia hated this part of the drive-in experience. There was water on the floor and toilet paper, and it smelled awful, but at least there was a John and no poison ivy, which were the conditions at Bennett's Beach at night when they drank beer there. There was a little toilet paper still, too. When they got outside, on the screen, Streisand was leaping around in a rooftop garden of a New York brownstone, trying to keep herself from being hypnotized by the professor. She was trying to fill her mind with distracting thoughts. She was reciting Mary Had a Little Lamb, then tap dancing, reciting the Gettysburg Address, turning on the radio, doing a jazz dance number. Oh, Barbara, look at you go, Cynthia heard Mimi cry. Mimi and Cheryl were just down a little ways, jumping up and down in vague imitation of the slapstick unfolding on the screen. That's the top of the Pan Am building, Mimi cried. I took a helicopter with my parents from there once. Hi, guys, Cynthia called. Hi, Mimi said, walking their way. When she emerged under the light, a woman audibly gasped. Oh, I broke my nose a couple of days ago, Mimi quickly explained. It didn't just happen. Oh, the lady said, I'm sorry. It looks painful. Thanks, Mimi said brightly. In case there's no toilet paper, Cynthia said to Mimi, pulling the napkin out of her blouse and handing it to her. The snack bar was a mob scene. Food was in the center of the building, and on either side, people of every shape and size and age were standing in zigzagging lines of metal crowd control stanchions. Cynthia walked to the nearest stanchion. She pulled herself up to stand on the first metal rail. Immediately, she heard Clay called, Cynthia, over here. He was way over on the other side. She jumped down, and she and Katie went back outside to circle around to the other entrance. It took a lot of excuse me's and sorries to reach Clay. He was holding a cut-down cardboard carton that was already full of barrels of popcorn. It was very noisy, and Clay had to shout. There had been a problem with the grill, but it was fixed now, and it shouldn't be too long before their food was ready. Could Cynthia and Katie carry the popcorn when the hot food came? Why, yes, they could. Clay leaned close to Cynthia's ear. Sorry I had to run off like that. Her turn. I'm just glad he didn't see you. After a minute, she leaned forward again. Patrick says you can be in the car while we're drinking beer, that you just can't be seen holding any. Is that right? He flashed a smile and leaned into her slightly. I haven't had to test Patrick's theory yet, so I hope he is right. She leaned into him. Maybe next time we should go to Let's Scare Jessica to Death and skip the beer. He frowned. Aren't you having a good time? Oh, I am. She was feeling no pain, that was for sure. The peach brandy was kicking in. With Katie, too, Cynthia could tell. Scarlet had spread down her neck in the same pattern as when Cynthia had first met her, when Evan made her blush. She remembered because the color was such an unusual shape, as if someone had tossed a can of paint on her neck. Penny for your thoughts, Clay said. Just happy, she told him, kissing him lightly on the ear. Whoa, that got him. It got her, too. When the order from the grill was ready, Cynthia and Katie carried the tubs of popcorn outside while Clay took the food and the list to the condiments table. Was that kiss for my benefit? Katie asked. I'm sorry, what? When you kissed his ear. Showing off? Cynthia frowned. What are you talking about? Never mind, Katie said. I think you're drunk, Cynthia told her. I think you're drunk, Katie said. Kissing his ear like that on a first date. Yeah, Cynthia said, rolling her eyes. She was probably right, though. Man, that peach brandy stuff was something. Now you wish I wasn't here, right? Katie said. Cynthia couldn't really see Katie's face in this light. You have problems with your self-confidence without conceit, she told her. Katie exploded with laughter. Self-esteem. It's called self-esteem. Cynthia was laughing too. I couldn't remember. It's such a weird word. Oh, golly, I feel great, don't you? Yeah, that brandy was pretty good. Hey, Clay called, coming out of the darkness. Hi, Cynthia said in her mother's sing-songy voice. Everyone was happy when they arrived back at the car with the food because moments before, Patrick had replenished their supply of cold pony boys. Katie got in the back seat to hand out the popcorn barrels while Cynthia made the rounds with Clay to the windows. He held the box while Cynthia delivered everybody's order. Clay had gotten them all right. It was amazing. When they were down to just Clay's food, Cynthia asked Patrick to unlock the rear door. One of the coolest things about this wagon was the ability to swing the rear door with one hand, or, if you wanted to tailgate, to use two hands to pull the door down to sit on. With dismay, she surveyed how much stuff they brought. She knew what it was like to sit cross-legged, try to eat back here. You know, if we could clear this off, there are 2 jump seats under here. I can set up chairs for anyone who wants to sit outside, Clay called. But after Patrick reminded everyone they couldn't take their beers outside, there weren't any takers. We can sit outside if you want, Cynthia said. I got an extra soda cup to put your beer in if you wanted to, he told her. But I think it's starting to rain. Indeed, she looked up, feeling drops on her face. Well, they're outdoor chairs. We can just lean them against the car. Good thinking, Lincoln, he said, imitating her. They kissed. Then Cynthia started passing him the chairs and pushed the blankets against the back seat. Do you want me to help you? Clay asked, watching as Cynthia felt around on the floor for the recessed pull ring. No, I think I've got it, thanks. She found the ring and pulled, and one seat came up out of the floor, facing sideways. She locked it in place and started on the other. The spare tire was stored in a vertical compartment against the back seat, which created a shelf next to the jump seats that at the moment was covered with blankets. She said, ta-da! Cool, Clay said. Cynthia swung one foot into the cargo area, slid it toward the well, and stopped, realizing this maneuver was going to be impossible in a miniskirt. My lady, Clay said, offering his hand. Thanks, she said, taking it. Clay's arm strength effortlessly lofted her into the cabin, modesty intact. Wow, she said, impressed. Shall I sit across from you or squish in next to you? Clay asked, handing the box up to her. We can sit on this side, she said, putting the box down temporarily on the right-hand seat while she started moving the blankets from the top of the tire compartment to the other seat. The car bobbed slightly under Clay's weight as he climbed in. Hey, Katie said, the living room's moving. It continued to move as Cynthia and Clay moved around, trying to get him and the food on the inside by the shelf. Got a cold one up there for Cynthia, Pat? Clay called. Cynthia heard a bottle cap. Mimi appeared over the back seat. She handed the beer to Cynthia and looked around. It's like a little house back here. Any kids yet? Katie asked, appearing next to her. Only hot dogs and French fries, Clay told her. This is cool, Katie said, looking around. This is definitely the party car. How's your chili dog? Clay asked her. That's good. And your hamburger, Mimi? It's great. You even got my pickles. Thank you. We aim to please, he said, sinking his teeth into his chili dog. The beer was still cold. Amazing. Cynthia drank some. Is Patrick 18? She whispered to Clay. They were jammed in this seat, so his ear was only a couple inches away. He held up a finger, asking for time to finish chewing. Not yet, he whispered back, wiping his mouth with a napkin. He's got a friend's expired license to use when he gets carded. Connecticut driver's licenses were typed on pale green cardstock, listing the name and address of the driver, date of birth, his height, eye color, and hair color. Cynthia was hoping to find a license she could use. He didn't have to use it today, though, Clay added after more chili dog, because the guy at the beer distributor in Portchester knows him now. He chuckled. He just has to remember to answer to the name Bernard. Cynthia laughed. Oh, Bernard, she called. Bernard is so much nicer than Patrick is, Cheryl called back. And Bernard's going to buy me that outfit for Christmas, aren't you, Bernard? On the big screen, Streisand was flouncing around in a low-cut red, black, and yellow tartan plaid mini jumper, white blouse, and matching plaid bucket hat with a pom-pom on it. Arnold Stacey doesn't design ready-to-wear, Mimi announced. His are one-of-a-kind. One-of-a-kind ridiculous, Patrick said. Oh, I think it suits Daisy's personality, Mimi said. Which one? In which year? Katie asked. The sound of more bottle caps. They were keeping Patrick busy. Have a fry, Clay said, bringing them down from the shelf. Cynthia took one and waved them away. Patrick drinks, but you don't, she said, thinking she sounded like an idiot. Clay had finished the chili dog and now was picking up a hot dog with mustard and sauerkraut. He offered her a bite, but she shook her head, sipping her beer instead. I am a Christian Scientist, he said. He flashed a grin, and Patrick's not a very good Christian Scientist. He took a big bite of his hot dog. After swallowing, he added, and eating junk food like this makes me not a very good one either. Cynthia had no idea what a hot dog had to do with religion, but she was hoping he might explain the doctor thing. I'm Christian, she volunteered, watching him eat. He was very tidy for a guy. Episcopalian or Presbyterian, I haven't made up my mind yet. I think it's probably going to be Presbyterian. We're Christian, Clay said, wiping his mouth with his napkin. The name's obviously a big hint. Christian Science. But everybody's Christian in Brighton. No, they're not, Cynthia said. There are some Jewish people in Brighton. Really? I don't think I know any. And I didn't know I knew anyone who was a Christian Scientist, she said flippantly. He was startled by her response, and not for the first time Cynthia regretted being such a smart aleck. I didn't mean that to sound the way it did. I'm sorry. I don't like how people in Brighton think anything and anyone different is something to gossip about. Like we're all supposed to be exactly the same. You're right, he said. I was told your church doesn't believe in doctors or in medicine, and I wanted to ask you about that. Good, he said. But now I'm getting all upset about Jews. She was definitely drunk. Jews? Clay asked, looking slightly concerned. I think it maybe is from watching her, she said, pointing to the movie screen, where Streisand was back in time again, lying across a chaise lounge in a wispy gown, hair piled high in curls. Hitler would have told everybody she was a fraud, that she couldn't really sing, that it was all made up, a plot to take their money, and then he would have dragged her away, steal all of her money for himself and his minions, all of her stuff, all of her clothes, her house, steal everything, and murder her to keep it quiet. Hitler and his killing machine did that to 6 million Barbra Streisands, she said, starting to cry. She put her beer down between her feet on the floor and buried her face in her hands. She felt such despair. "What is going on back here?" Katie cried. "Oh, I bet it was the peach brandy, Clay." "What peach brandy?" "Some friend of Cynthia's gave it to us. Her mother cried too the other night when she got bombed," Mimi said. "She kept yelling at Mr. Schuyler, 'Where were you in 1939? Why didn't America come with us?'" "What's with the Nazi stuff?" Katie said. Cynthia was making a point about how everyone in Brighton needs to be the same, or everybody wants everyone in Brighton to be the same and be Christian, and something about Streisand being Jewish got her all upset. "Her parents were in World War II, Mimi said. Her father had something to do with free people for the prison camps." It was amazing to Cynthia how they could just go on talking about her as if she wasn't there. She had had enough. "I'm fine," Cynthia said, sitting up and wiping her eyes. "I'm sorry," she said to Clay. "I'm just tired, sick and tired." "Do you want to go?" "No, I don't want to go. I'm fine, really." She drained her beer and held up the empty. "See?" She held it out to Katie. "Can you put that in the trash?" Katie took the bottle. "Show's over. I'm going to the ladies' room." She got out of the car. "Are you sure you don't want to leave?" Clay asked. "What I want is a cigarette." "Okay," Clay said, looking unsure. 2 minutes later, the rear window was down. Cynthia was angled against the tailgate, smoking, and Clay was explaining what a hot dog had to do with Christian Science. "The thing about junk food is it tastes great, right?" "Right," Cynthia said. "It tastes great because people design junk food in a way that makes you crave it. They put stuff in it." "Right," Cynthia said. "And the things they put in it aren't good for you." She squinted slightly, taking a drag. "And people practically get addicted to junk food." Cynthia laughed, blowing smoke out the window. "Yeah, like every kid alive." "Right," Clay said, "but all kinds of people get addicted to eating it. Grown-ups. And sometimes it makes them ill. You know, with indigestion, heartburn. So other people design stuff to sell to them that makes them feel better temporarily. You know, like Rolaids and Alka-Seltzer and Pepto-Bismol. But it just keeps people eating junk and they develop more problems, like ulcers and diabetes and heart disease. And then they turn to doctors for tests and treatments and prescriptions and then surgery because of a hot dog," Cynthia said. He nodded. "In a way, yes." He leaned forward. "We believe a good life, where we feel good, lies in our spiritual connection to God. That connection, to us, is what is real. Material things cannot replace it." "Whoa, whoa, whoa," Cynthia said. "You're forgetting something. Things like eating junk food, drinking, and smoking make people feel better." "But it doesn't, Cynthia. It masks the real issue, which is, at its core, spiritual distress." "All right, I'll bite." Define spiritual distress, Clay. Feeling disconnected from God. She needed to think about this when she wasn't bombed. We're not against doctors. We just don't believe they heal people of what's fundamentally wrong with them. And religion aside, I don't drink or smoke because I dream of playing professional sports someday. The high I get from sports, Cynthia, is the greatest feeling in all the world. I know I probably won't be able to, but I might get some scholarship money, or maybe I'll coach one day. All I know is I don't want to take that friggin' train into New York and sit in one of those skyscrapers longing for the bar car to Brighton. That's no way to live. That's spiritual distress in action. So why do millions upon millions upon millions and billions of people have spiritual distress, she asked, tossing her cigarette butt out the window. Because money rules the world, and fortunes are most easily made by catering things that people get addicted to. Make it and market it as a cure for everything that ails them. A broken heart, a bad job, lack of money. That goes on for years. Then they hand them off to the medical world to save them from the destruction. My choice is to make the most of what I've been given. It's never going to work between us, Clay. You don't know that. The only thing more spiritually depressing than drinking and smoking and eating junk food to your grave is looking for people to drink and smoke and eat junk food with to your grave. He laughed, and after a moment, she did too. That's all we do in Brighton. It's all our parents do. Except maybe not the junk food part. We just get together to drink and smoke. When I was little, Clay said, before she found Christian Science, my mother had a bad drinking problem. Christian Science helped her stop. She's convinced it saved her life. She brought me and Patrick along to the reading room because my father didn't want to be stuck looking after us. In the end, it worked out, though. They still seem to love each other. My dad thinks your dad is a good guy. He is. He's still a practicing Catholic. That's how I started volunteering with Mr. Gagliardi. Dad hangs out with him at church. On the screen, Barbara was dancing around outside a college building, singing "On a Clear Day." Clay turned to watch, too. Mimi and Cheryl were singing with Streisand, their voices growing louder and louder as Streisand flowed through a garden and then was soaring through the clouds. When she disappeared off the horizon, there was cheering and honking across the entire drive-in. "Yay, Barbara!" Mimi said. Clay turned to Cynthia. "I'm never going to forget what you said about her, Streisand, and the Nazis. It brings it home what the Holocaust was." "Dear God," Cynthia said, clasping her hands and looking up, "please let my generation make a better world." "So, Clay," Bibi said, looking down at him, "would you get hurt? Do you go to a doctor?" "You've been eavesdropping," Cynthia remarked. "Yeah, well," Bibi said, "one good turn deserves another, Cynthia. So would you, Clay? I've heard Christian Scientists don't believe in doctors." "Oh, we do," he said. "We just try to avoid all the illnesses from drinking and smoking and eating junk food. But if you broke your nose like I did, would you have gone to the hospital?" He shrugged. "Probably not. That's sort of routine for athletes. I've broken mine once already, and I didn't go." "Katie should be back by now," Cynthia said. Clay looked at his watch. "She hasn't been gone that long. I think I better go look for her. I need to use the facilities again anyway." I'll walk with you, Clay said. They climbed out of the car. Oh, no, Cynthia said. Look at this crowd. It was the intermission. He looked at her. Have you seen Love Story? I went to see it last year, but a friend got caught trying to let people into the theater, and so we all got thrown out. It had been Evan. I read the book. It takes like 5 minutes, and I didn't like it much. She remembered that coming to see these movies had been Clay's idea. Well, I'm looking forward to watching it, she told him. Ally McGraw and Ryan O'Neal are supposed to be terrific. I don't think they've changed those ads since the 1950s, Clay said, nodding towards the screen, where hot dogs wearing straw hats and canes were dancing. How are you feeling, by the way? Better, but embarrassed. He took her hand. It's okay. They arrived at the ladies' room, and Cynthia went in to look for Katie. No sign of her. Ugh, it was even messier in here. She went back outside. She's not in there, Clay, but I do need to use it, so I got to get in line. Okay, while you're in there, I'll check out the snack bar, and if she's not there, I'll jog back to the car to see if she's there. But if you get through before I'm back, Cynthia, please stay here so I can find you, okay? She promised she would and got into line. Oh, this was nuts. A few girls up, Dee Dee suddenly looked down the line at her. I thought that was you, she said, laughing. She told the lady behind her she was going to go back to wait in line with a friend. Cynthia said, you didn't have to do that. Oh, I wanted a cigarette anyway, Dee Dee said, pulling a pack out of her pocket. That pisser Elixer made a fool out of me, Cynthia said. What a fun date I am. I started crying about the Holocaust. Dee Dee choked while lighting her cigarette. She exhaled smoke, waving it out of her face. I shouldn't laugh. You're not Jewish, are you? Cynthia knew she was looking at her big nose. No, I'm a spiritually depressed Presbyterian. So am I, Dee Dee said. Cynthia looked around. I've lost track of Katie. If you see her, let me know, will you? Maybe she's crying somewhere, Dee Dee suggested. She chugged a lot of pisser Elixer, too. She seemed better than I was. Slowly the line advanced. Cynthia finally got into a stall. No toilet paper, of course. Oh, this was going to have to be a drip dry. When she came out, a little girl bounced off her and went into the stall. Cynthia walked over to the sink to wash her hands. No paper towels either. Shaking her hands in the air, she went outside. She didn't see Clay. The second movie had started. They cut to the library scene where Ally McGraw kept calling Ryan O'Neal preppy, which was as far as Cynthia had gotten at the Brighton movie theater last year. An older lady was approaching. She was carrying the most adorable puppy in her arms. Everyone's heart melted and oohed and awed. It was a little Jack Russell. Cynthia was oohing and awing with everybody else. She is named after my Aunt Gertrude Louise, the lady said, and is called Gertie Lou. Gertie Lou, Dee Dee said, laughing. All the people around the lady and the puppy had started quietly calling, Gertie Lou, hello, Gertie Lou. Clay came jogging up. Did you find her? She asked him. Shook his head, no. She realized Clay didn't know Dee Dee and introduced them. You're quite an athlete, Dee Dee told him. Thank you, Clay said with a quick smile, but he was looking around for Katie. Suddenly, the crowd around the lady and the puppy started moving. There was a piercing yelp that went straight through Cynthia's heart. The lady cried, No, Gertie Lou, come back. They watched the puppy take off, dodging outstretched hands in every direction, bounding down into the cars. Why isn't her leash on? Cynthia demanded. We've got to catch this puppy. I'm on it, Clay said, sprinting through the rows. Oh, Gertie Lou, the lady wailed in grief. We'll find her. Don't worry, Cynthia called. I've got a pen light, Dee Dee said, flicking it on. Clay appeared farther to the right. He was standing on someone's bumper. She's moving that way, he called, motioning to their right. Look under every car. People were getting out of their cars. Somebody turned on their headlights to see, and Clay cried, "You're scaring her. She's going that way, Cynthia." Cynthia and Dee Dee walked quickly past the snack bar and kept going. Other people had joined the hunt. She hoped it wasn't going to take long to find this little puppy. Clay appeared up on a bumper again. "We've lost her. She was heading that way." He was motioning to the end, the area where pickup trucks and vans had to park because they blocked the view of cars. "I'd run away too if my name was Gertie Lou," Dee Dee said, before she careened into another pursuer. Was everybody drunk? "Gertie Lou," Cynthia called, steadily looking under vehicle after vehicle. Didn't seem like anyone knew where the little puppy was. She had no idea where Clay was either. "She's got my sock," squealed a little kid a couple of cars down, and Cynthia moved in that direction, calling the puppy and looking under the cars. Nothing. The next. Nothing. The next. Scotch bottle. The next. A baby bottle. She kept calling the puppy. She kept looking, but she was almost at the end of the line. And then she saw her. The puppy was chewing on something next to a trash barrel. But when she saw Cynthia, she darted under a van. "Dee Dee," she called, "this way. I just saw her." Gertie Lou, come back." "I'm bringing a man with a hamburger," Dee Dee called, pen light swinging crazily. On the screen, Ryan O'Neill was getting thrown out of a Harvard hockey game. A big cloud of cigar smoke enveloped Cynthia. She coughed. 2 men were standing outside a pickup truck, smoking cigars, while in the truck bed, 2 women were sitting in folding chairs watching the movie. "Excuse me," Cynthia called, "but have you seen a puppy?" "Aw," one of the women said. "It's a puppy that's lost," the other lady said. "I heard everyone calling. I thought it was a child that was missing." "A child named Gertie Lou?" "She's a sweet little Jack Russell who got away from her owner," Cynthia explained, "from way over on the other side of the snack bar. We're scared she's going to eat something bad or someone might run over her." "Don't worry," the lady said with some certainty. "Nobody'll leave till the girl dies, and that's in a while." "Chocolate and a lot of other stuff is poison for dogs," Cynthia said, looking under their truck. "If you see her, please try to catch her." "Thanks." Behind Cynthia, one of the women said, "Hank, help that girl find the puppy." The men with cigars started moving. Cynthia kept calling Gertie Lou, looking. "Cynthia, where are you?" Dee Dee called. "Toward the end of the second line from the back." She continued looking beneath the vehicles, sidestepping down the line. Gertie Lou, come on, girl, where are you?" At the end of the line, there was an empty van, which she couldn't really see under because of all the shadows. "Gertie Lou," she called, walking toward the back. There was a big thud inside the van, and Cynthia stopped. "Gertie Lou?" Cynthia heard a noise. Where was it coming from? She moved to the end of the van, which rocked suddenly, startling her. Then there was a bang inside, the squeal of metal against metal, and then one of the doors flew open. "Help," Katie said, sounding completely smashed. "What's she doing?" another girl's voice demanded. There was a masculine expletive. Then the man's voice said, "Wait, watch it. Are you—" "Oh, no. No!" There was the sound of someone retching in the van. "Ew!" the girl cried. The male started swearing. "Oh, gross!" the girl yelled. One of the doors of the van crashed open and Katie came stumbling out and fell on the ground. The back of her dress was unzipped and her bra was undone. Cynthia fell to her knees beside her. "Cynthia," Katie whimpered. I'm here," Cynthia said, brushing the hair back off her face. and then a bunch of sheets fell on them, some of which were wet. Yuck! Cynthia threw them off and zipped up Katie's dress. "Did you find Gertie Lou?" Dee Dee called. "Where's my skirt?" the girl in the van was demanding. Cynthia helped Katie sit up. "Just sit here a second to get your bearings." Katie said, "Oh, I feel better," to throwing up. She looked up at the van and covered her face with her hand. "Oh, God," she said. "Uh-oh," Dee Dee said, arriving on the scene with her pen light. She clicked it off. "What can I do?" "Get me out of here," Katie said. Cynthia and Dee Dee helped her to her feet. Katie took a tentative step away from them. "Wait, but there's a puppy," Katie said, pulling away, swaying. "Hi, little bits." Gertie Lou sauntered out of the shadows, carrying a candy wrapper in her mouth. She turned her head quizzically, looking at Katie, and when she stretched out a hand, wouldn't you know, Gertie Lou came right to her. Katie picked her up in her arms, but lost her balance and abruptly sat down. Cynthia and Dee Dee hurried over. Gertie Lou was licking a stain on Katie's dress. "Is she okay?" the other girl called from the van. "I think so," Cynthia said, turning around. The girl jumped out of the van and nearly fell. She was drunk, too. When she raised her head, she and Cynthia froze. It was Betsy Satterfield, the cheerleader from homeroom. And then a shirtless Teddy Hamilton stepped down out of the van behind her. His eyes swept the scene, came back to Cynthia. He raised his hands. "Nothing happened!" My word. Wow. Even I'm surprised, and I wrote this, guys. Sometimes you're not sure where you're going until you're there. Oh, Cynthia, how much you're learning in this high school. Oh, dear. Well, I hope that took your mind off other things. Just a reminder, everybody, we have a new private group at Facebook called the Class of 74 Podcast. Some of you who were on the old page have already joined this one and you got right in. But for those of you, you have to be approved to be let in so that people can share without the whole world looking at what they're writing, just for your comfort level and mine. So please come. And if you quit Facebook, like many people did, how about you make up another name, since everybody else in the world seems to make up fake names, and come to the Class of 74 podcast group, and I'll let you in, and you don't have to worry about creepy people, okay? Okay. I hope to see you there. Thanks again for coming. I hope you have a splendid week. And please remember, we don't drink and drive anymore. Ever. But we do have fun. Take care, everybody. See you next week.